Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the video where I rank every single episode of Season 3 of Are You Afraid of the Dark, from my least favourite to my most favourite. So a couple of little things before we start. You all know how bad I am at making decisions, right? So ask me this question again in a couple of days' time, it might be a different story. But on the most part, I think I pretty much got it sorted. There's a couple near the bottom that I was unsure about, and a couple near the top that I was quite unsure about where they're going to fall, but I did my best to rank them all as it feels like they stand today. Now, this is purely my opinion. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. Just be polite about it. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what your ranking is, or what episodes are near your top and near your bottom. But let's all just be friendly about it. This is all just a TV show. But yeah, I changed my mind so much, and I actually started listening to the podcast again. I used to record an episode, listen to a podcast, and then do my editing and stuff. But that started to sway my opinion of what was good and what was bad. So I waited till I finished the season before probably starting listening to the podcast again. Now, just from starting season 3, the first year that I listened to, I can already tell you that my opinion is going to be very different from a lot of people. So let's jump into it, because I know it's going to be quite controversial, some of these I think. But if you're new to the channel, hi, my name is Scott. I've done a reaction to every episode of season 3 and 1 and 2 of Are You Afraid of the Dark. If you want to take a look, let's take a look at the playlist on my channel. They're all in there, and we'll be jumping into season 4 hopefully soon. And let's jump into my ranking of every episode of season 3 of Are You Afraid of the Dark. Now, in 13th place, one that I do know some people actually really like, but for me it was really lacking, that was the tale of the carved stone. Whilst I felt sorry for the girl, I understand wanting more friends, being in a new area, being somewhere where you don't really know anybody. I found the episode full of plot holes. The villain, the actor was great, but I didn't particularly care about the villain itself, like Brother Septimus, I believe his name was. Like I said, the actor was giving it 100, and he was brilliant, in his role. He was quite over the top and kind of funny at times, but I never really found him very threatening. And the whole time travel, whilst interesting concept, they didn't really do a lot with the fact that they went to an olden time and then a new time. They could have travelled to a different place, and I think that the events that took place could have happened exactly the same. I think they could have made more of a point of the fact that they were in the past or in the future for the guy anyway. There was a few jokes about it, but they could have used new technology and old technology and found a way to defeat Brother Septimus that way. But when they did defeat him, there was a lot of plot holes with why were they transported back to their own times, why could they still see each other in the mirror, and various different things that, even when I listened to the podcasts, they were like, yeah, we're not really sure what happened here. So I can appreciate why people like this episode, and it's not a bad episode. What I will say about Series 3 is there's no episodes in this season that I really disliked, so that's a good thing. It was just, for me, one of the weakest of the season. I didn't really care about the characters too much. I didn't love the villain that much. Whilst it was a great seeing Sado again, and I don't like putting Sado episode this low, it just, for me, was missing a lot. I didn't care about the characters, wasn't that interested in the villain, and a few too many plot holes that made me put it at the bottom of my list. Okay, in 12th place, another one that I think people actually like, but just scraping from the bottom place, is the tale of the curious camera. Now, I feel like a lot of reason why I have this so low is purely because I've seen the episode before in Goosebumps form, and that is not the show's fault, so I'm trying to separate it from that. But I just think Goosebumps did the episode better. I cared more about the characters in that episode. So with this, when he was taking the pictures, he was taking them all willy-nilly, and stuff was going wrong. What I will say I did like about it is that when he started ticking off the people in the yearbook, I thought that was quite a good villainous little twist for the character. But the camera itself, when it became about this gremlin-y monster thing and the little stamp it had on all the pictures that were really obvious, so how nobody noticed that, I don't know. That's when it started to lose a bit of the mystery for me. And whilst it did the same thing as the Goosebumps episode with taking a picture of the parents, they're in a car crash, but they don't actually get in the car crash in the end. I don't know, it then jumped from a computer to a video camera to a computer, and there was just something lacking about the flow of the episode. And I would have enjoyed it if it was more, okay, I've got this camera, I've discovered that it's evil, I'm going to use it to get revenge on my bullies, which he started to do a little bit with the guy that the locker fell on, but I don't know, it's just, I feel like because, as much as I'm trying to separate it from Goosebumps, I can't ignore the fact that that's a big reason why the episode is a bit low for me, just that I believe Goosebumps pulled it off better than they did. I also found it kind of confusing that the photographer who had the camera initially couldn't give it to someone else, but because someone took it out of his hands, it was a bit weird. The actual explanation for how he actually gave the boy the camera wasn't as tight as it seemed to be, and there was a couple of plot holes there as well. And I feel like a lot of my complaints about this episode are the same as the last one, with plot holes and such, and I didn't really love the villain. The camera was cool, but the gremlin, whatever. But like I said, I think what would have worked better is if like, the boy had gone really evil and was using the camera to get revenge on all the people that wronged him. That would have been a cool way to end it, rather than the weird, it jumped to a video camera then a computer. Didn't really fully understand how that worked, because that wasn't in the rules that we'd learn. But it was interesting, it was entertaining. Like I say, the character, I really like the main character, I quite enjoyed his performance. But yeah, in 12th place for me, The Tale of the Curious Camera. In number 11, an episode that I would say is kind of disappointing for me. I enjoyed it when I watched it, but looking back when I edited and did the list, it did fall flat, and that was The Tale of the Guardian's Curse. As I said when I did my reaction, I really enjoy Egyptian-themed things, mummy episodes. That's kind of my jam, and I normally love that kind of stuff. But this episode was just quite basic in what it did with that genre. It had a mummy, the mummy came to life, and if we look at the mummy storyline on its own, the mummy disappeared, and then it appeared at the end and became human. Now, obviously, there was a whole side plot about, not even a side plot, main plot, whole other plot, about the man who was working at the museum, who was trying to find that mummy, or at least use the ring and the elixir to become immortal. And that was an interesting little twist, in that you assumed the mummy was the evil one, the mummy was chasing them, ransacking the man's house, the dad's house, but it turned out to be the museum worker. Like I say, good little twist, but even he was destroyed really quickly. But what I did like about the episode was the characters. The main boy and the main girl, I felt really sorry for them. I liked the performances, the actors were pretty good, and I felt for them that the dad was always working rather than going on holiday with them. Like this time they were literally dressed up to go skiing, which seems odd. Like, wouldn't you get any ski clothes when you got there? But anyway, they were dressed up to go skiing, and the dad cancelled at the last minute, so I did feel really sorry for them. I really bought into their sadness, but the mummy part itself was just a little disappointing. They didn't do more with it. Like I think most of the episode was about the other guy, the museum guy. The actual mummy stuff was very few and far between. There was the bit when they found the coffin, walked the mummy up, and like I said, then it disappeared for quite a while till it appeared right at the end. And did not to even save the day. It was nothing to do with all that. Like it just appeared around a corner. They made it human, and I had that weird little plot about the mummy might be their new mum and falling in love with the dad, and I don't know if I'm okay with this. Like, I appreciate that it was meant to be like cute for kids to see that, and that she was like this beautiful woman who's now human again, and the dad was like, oh my god, you're so beautiful, or whatever. He didn't say that, but I don't know. But it just felt like a really icky end to me, and just, I think, as someone who loves Egyptians and mummies and stuff, it was just a really disappointing end to what could have been a really awesome, scary mummy episode. Okay, in 10th place, one that I think people are probably going to have a little bit lower, I'm not too sure. The second episode, The Tale of Apartment 214. I liked this. I did like this. I found, whilst it was slower, and not the episode that I would normally enjoy, because it wasn't really like, ooh, I'm a spooky monster, ooh, I'm a spooky clown, ooh, I'm a spooky vampire. They're my kind of jams. In this one, it was about a girl who lived next door to an old lady, and they were friends. Turned out the old lady was a ghost, and the girl betrayed her by not sticking to her plans on an important date, the date that she died, or the anniversary of the day that she died. They quickly made friends after that. So, whilst I understand why people might not like this, it's a little silly, and it's a little like, oh, I'm friends with an old lady, but that old lady gets really jealous if I disappear, which I don't think was what the episode was about. For me, what the episode was about was she didn't stick to her promise, you know? She promised she would be there, and she wasn't. She just ditched her. And I think that's what I liked about it, is that it kind of had a good motto. Like, if you make a promise with someone, stick to it. Or at least what she could have done is gone up to the woman and gone, look, sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it tonight. Or I really want to go to this thing, is that okay? And I think she would have been fine with that. Because once she discovered that she wanted to make a new friend, all the scary, spooky ghost stuff stopped. So I liked seeing their relationship grow. Like a young person, an older person, how she was helping her out. I thought it was really sweet. In this new apartment block, and obviously there was something ominous going on there. It was quite easy to work out she was a ghost. I mean, there is plot holes there, don't get me wrong. That's normally what I'm going to go into. Like, how was she getting all this food for someone that isn't going to be eating it? But I just enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought there was some really spooky moments with, was it Madeline? Like, when she appeared behind the girl in the balcony. Spooky. When she appeared in, like, the fisheye. I think I used that. Did I use that for my thumbnail? No, didn't. I used when she was screaming, like, why did you break your promise? I think I just enjoyed the performance in this. I didn't like the neighbour girl. She was a bitch. But I enjoyed the main girl, I liked Madeline, and I just thought it was a really fun little tale about this old lady that died. Weird thing to say, but I enjoyed the Tale of Apartment 214. Okay, in 9th place, another one that's going to be like controversial, because one of the podcasts that I listened to said this was one of their favourite episodes of all time, because they loved it when they were a kid. I went for The Tale of the Quicksilver. Now, before you hate on me, there was some really good stuff here. I really enjoyed the performances of the two brothers. Those two were great. The performance of the girl was really good as well. But the two brothers in particular, like Frank's actor's brother, I didn't realise that when I watched it, but that's kind of cool. Frank's actor's brother, he was really good, and the other brother was really good. I really believed their performance as brothers, and they were supportive of each other. Even when the boy was ill, they were supportive, and they helped each other save the day. And I enjoyed the girl. I found her believable when she was sad and annoyed and trying to help her sister. Good. The demon was really good, or the demon ghost creature was really good and ominous. But why I put it kind of in 10th place rather than higher was because, again, there was just something missing for me. They could have emphasised a bit more. Why was this ghost guy so evil? Why was he in a cloak? Why was he haunting the place? Why was he capturing people? Obviously, the girl summoned him to get rid of him, but why was he there? Obviously, he must have died there or been buried underneath, because I think there was a cemetery underneath. But, like, she was a good ghost when she appeared, so why was he so evil? I think they could have, like, gone into that a bit more. Just as an adult, that would have been more interesting for me to watch, rather than just, here's an evil ghost, here's a good ghost. And there was things like, I understood that there was a poltergeist element to it, which made sense in the house, but why was it, like, rolling the pencil away at school, getting him in trouble at school? I didn't understand that. A lot of it, going back to it as an adult, is you do see plot holes, that you wouldn't see as a kid. And it's a shame, because I probably would have enjoyed this a lot more as a kid, but watching it as an adult, I'm like, I don't fully understand how that links to that. Did that happen? But I enjoyed the episode. It was good. It wasn't scary. Like, whilst I found the ghost, the evil one, creepy looking, there was no scares there for me. But I enjoyed the relationship with the brothers. I enjoyed the girl and her parts playing all this. It just wasn't my favourite, but I did really enjoy it. That was the tale of the Quicksilver. Okay, in 8th place, the very first episode of the season, The Tale of the Midnight Ride. This was essentially sort of a retelling of Sleepy Hollow, although in this town, the Sleepy Hollow curse tale myth existed, and it came back to bite them in the bum when they didn't believe it. Now, one of the main things I liked about this episode was the performance of the main guy. It was wacky, it was crazy, it was odd, but I liked it, and I think that's what I like about Are You Afraid of the Dark is, yeah, some of these child actors, quote-unquote, aren't great actors at times, but I don't care. Like, they're having a great time, and you can tell that. They're having a laugh, and I enjoy the performance, because it is what You Afraid of the Dark is. It's just a bit of a weird acting, some good acting, some not good acting, but it all makes it a really lovable, quaint little show for me. I enjoyed the horse-riding, headless guy, some good effects, like when it came out of that wall. Banging, that was a really good effect. I enjoyed that. That was so cool, and I like Sleepy Hollow. I like the movie Sleepy Hollow, so the retelling was really good. I think where I didn't rate it higher was just because, like, it was essentially just a retelling of Sleepy Hollow. It didn't add anything new to the genre, to the legend. It was basically a retelling. Ichabod Crane turned up. Where do we have to go to? We have to get across this bridge. They got across this bridge. They saved the day. So they didn't add a lot to it. But the visuals were cool. The special effects were cool. And it had some good tension to it when they were chased through the woods by the Headless Horseman. But yeah, about middle of the pack for me. The Tale of the Midnight Ride. Good episode. It's not in my top few. Okay, smack bang in the middle, in 7th place, one that I know is going to be controversial. I think a lot of people will have this maybe at the top, so I apologise. Please don't hate me. But I've gone for The Tale of Watcher's Woods. Now, I think for me what disappointed about this episode the most, because there were some amazing things here, but what disappointed me the most was the fact that it's called The Tale of the Watcher's Woods, right? And the Watcher itself didn't really do a lot, didn't really make much of an appearance. He was in it a couple of times, and he was like, ooh, I changed the woods around you. I keep you trapped. They didn't need to have that. He didn't need to be there because him as a character didn't have any impact. And then the one time he appeared and was kind of tempting to be threatening, she was just like, I'll burn the woods down. And he just disappeared. So it was like, great villain, Watcher. Great. The best part of the episode really was the 3 women and all the stuff that took place in their camp. Because that was a great little set piece. And it was interesting. They were the legend of the 3 girls that disappeared when they were like orienteering or something in the woods, and they'd never been found, and now we found them. They were in the woods for so many years, they've grown up, and they were like evil, quote unquote evil. They'd been like turned feral, and they were going to kill these little girls, and it was cool. There was some really good stuff there, and I wish I'd rate it higher, because like all the stuff with the girls that went missing, the women now who were evil, was cool, and Jill State's a great actress, and I enjoyed her and the relationship between her and the other girl. But just the Watcher annoyed me so much because he looked visually interesting, but did nothing with that. And that annoys me that it was called The Watcher's Woods. What they could have done to make this episode even better is taken out all the Watcher's crap and just had, there is the woods, people go missing in the woods. and they find the girls. They went missing in the woods, and the woods are just cursed. They didn't need to have this Watcher character because it just left a sour taste in my mouth. I know it's something small and I shouldn't focus on it, but I'm a nitpicky little bitch, and that's what I do. And it's a shame. It is a shame that Watcher wasn't a bigger part of this. I think he could have been a really interesting villain to be a huge part of it. He appeared in the camp and he was like the boss of these ladies and telling them what to do as well. That would have been cool, but because he was in it so little, it was annoying. But the three women were cool. The special effects were pretty good. I enjoyed the Jewel State and the other girl. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. Don't get me wrong. So please just forgive me that in the halfway point I've put The Tale of Watcher's Woods. Okay, in sixth place, one that I really enjoyed, The Tale of the Phone Police. I know this is not a popular episode. Anything that I listened to about this episode on the podcast were like, it was fine. I really enjoyed it. And I don't know if it's because I grew up with old telephones, because I am old. I grew up with the old telephones, so some of that, not fear of people ringing the house, but that knowledge of anyone could just ring your house at any point because your name was in a book somewhere. I get that, and I get like prank calls. It was hard to trace people, and just like that little kid thing of, oh, like don't cross your eyes or get stuck if the wind blows. All those little things that like they were told as a kid. Like in this one, it was don't make prank calls or the phone police will come after you, or just little things that you're told as a kid from your parents or from other people. Little myths that you believe, like the tooth fairy and all that kind of stuff, was really interesting. So I really bought into the concept of this episode, and I really liked the whole jail cell. Yes, there was some plot holes here and there, and the phone police weren't that great at what they did because the boys got away really easily. And I would really like to know more about why Jake, I think his name was Jake, Jake's name appeared in the book, but everyone else forgot about him. I kind of can explain that away as like the phone police, when they capture you, they kind of wipe your existence out of other people's lives so that no one kind of goes looking for you. I can buy into that. And then obviously when they got away from it, then maybe the spell was undone and they remember who you are again. But I really enjoyed it. I thought Chris, whilst other people don't really care for Chris, I thought if you actually objectively look at what happened in this episode, Chris was great. Did he have a lot of personality? Probably not. But he was a friend who, your friend got captured, and you not only left to try and get help successfully, when you saw that you couldn't get help because no one remembered it, you then chose to willingly go back into that place to try and save them. So yeah, he got the guy into the prison cell, got his friend out of it, they escaped from the prison and successfully got out of there without really much trouble. And so I think Chris was great. Like people always say in the show, like, oh, the friends don't do much to help, or they're not very good, they're not very useful. And Chris gets overlooked as a friend who really was a badass. He like did the thing with the phone at the top of with the reception, like tricked the receptionist. Chris was great, and I think I really enjoyed the episode. It was like more of an adventure episode than a scary one. So yeah, on paper I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it as much, but I had a really good time with The Tale of the Phone Police, and I hope there's people here who really enjoyed it as well. I'm excited to see what you guys think. Okay, in fifth place, I chose The Tale of the Doll Maker. One that as a kid I don't think I would have liked. It's like, oh, girls, dolls, bear. But I had a vivid memory, like I said, of that girl turning into a doll. Just her in a pink dress and the rosy cheeks. I had a very vivid memory of that. And it was just kind of creepy. So, a family lives next door. She goes to visit every now and again and is friends with the girl. The girl disappears. The family just move out and leave because they can't stay there anymore because of the memories and whatnot. But that was creepy. And there were some really cool, like, weird dimensional shifts with you go into the attic and then go through a door and then you appear inside the dollhouse in the attic. But you can go out of the door of the attic and somehow go just into the ground if the dollhouse portal's not working. And then you can go out of the dollhouse door and you can look like it's outside, but if you jump out, you appear back in the attic. It was a bit of a mindfuck, right? I apologise for my French, but it was a bit of a mindfuck and I enjoyed it. And I thought it was kind of creepy watching the girl turn into the doll. And I like the size shifts as well of being in the dollhouse when things were big, but you could look out and see like the mum that walked past the aunt that walked past in the attic. This was cool. This was a really simple story. Girl went missing, she's trapped in a dollhouse. Girl went in and saved her. But because of the dimensional shifts and the creepiness of the girl turning into a doll, and how I think our character started slowly turning into a doll, I think that she started to go white on her hand, I believe. Whereas the girl that was there for a while, she called Susie, I don't know, I'm just picking a name out of thin air, obviously had the porcelain hands. So there's something really creepy about that. But I really enjoyed it. I had some really creepy elements to it. That was The Tale of the Doll Maker. Okay, we're on to my top 4 now. And I have to say, I really struggled with all of these 4. I thought they were all great. And there's little reasons why I probably put 4, 3, 2, 1 the way I did, which I'll try and talk about. But if you're disappointed that your favourite episode is not one of the top ones from these 4, just know that I loved all 4 episodes and I really struggled putting these in any sort of order. But here we go. When I went into the season, I thought this was going to be my number 1. For nostalgia's sake, in the 4th place, I put The Tale of the Bookish Babysitter. Now, I know there's things here that don't really work as an adult. I'm aware of that. But nostalgia is playing such a huge part in this episode for me. I adored this as a kid. I watched this episode a lot. Now, I still forgot some of the elements of it. But I think it's about a boy who reads. I loved reading as a kid. I still like it, but I read more. I mean, hell, I'm reading a 1,300-page book right now. But as a kid, I loved reading, and about this babysitter who came along and made you read books, but the books came to life, and there was knights and witches. I loved it as a kid. Now as an adult, there was some cheesy stuff. Like, the boy was kind of annoying. I was like, I don't want to read. Reading's dumb. I don't want to get to know you. He's a little irritating, but that doesn't really bother me. I mean, hell, you know what's coming up, and that's still got one of the most annoying characters in the Are You Afraid of the Dark history, and so that doesn't ruin the episode. I think what didn't work for me as an adult was, yeah, that witch when it was the other person dressed as the babysitter was a little silly, or did like it. Just little bits that, like, say, you want to pick up on as an adult. Like, when they finished the episode and the one was like, do you want, like, I'll get you your payment now, and Belinda was like, oh no, I've already had my payment. I was like, okay, take a step back. You babysitted my child. You don't want payment because you've already been paid. What did you do? Now, I know that is reading way too much from an adult point of view. I get it. But it's just those little things that make me laugh. But I did really enjoy it. I liked the fact that various different books came to life and they were all in the same space. The creepy guy that was floating, really good effect. And the witch, I really enjoyed the witch, even if it was a bit silly. I thought it was really cool because it reminded me of just one of those things that scared me as a child. So, like, there's a little part of me that was like, I feel a little uneasy now. I enjoyed Belinda. I thought she was a great character. I thought she was kind of good measures of spooky, funny, mysterious, captivating to watch, and a good babysitter. And I really enjoy it. It's like again, not really scary episode, more of an adventure one, like The Phone Police, but this time it's an adventure through different genres. I didn't love the cheesiness, I am the knight, or whatever he said, where he raised the sword and whatever, but then there was a cool effect with the knight collapsing on itself sort of thing. This is definitely a nostalgia episode for me. I can definitely see that people will have this episode further down, maybe at the halfway mark, I don't know, but I love The Tale of the Bookish Babysitter. Since I was a kid, and I really enjoyed it again as an adult. 3rd place, top 3 now, I went for The Tale of the Dream Girl, which I know is going to be disappointing, because I think a lot of people have this as their favourite episode of the entire show, from what I've seen online, but I really enjoyed it. The tale was about a boy looking for this girl that keeps appearing to him, finds out the girl's dead, still tries to connect with her. Long story short, it turns out he's dead all along, and the sister knew, and long story short, they sailed off into the sunset together, essentially, and moved on to the afterlife. And this was really well crafted. What I loved about this episode, other than the fact that I like Fab Filippo, he's such a cool guy. There's something about the way he speaks, his voice, that even when I watched him in Buffy, I really love it. I really like that actor. It's something really likable about him, and his hair and his perfect skin, which I wish I had skin that perfect. But anyway, they crafted the episode and the twist really well, that there was every single clue that he was dead as well. And some people would have picked up on it, some people wouldn't have picked up on it. Some people would have guessed from the start. I know from the podcast that some people guessed kind of partway through. I think as a kid, I never would have guessed this, but all the clues were there for you to guess. It was a really well-crafted 20-25 minute episode television, and the twist was good. Part of me wishes I didn't guess it, because I would have been like, oh my god, he's dead. But I really liked the twist. It just made sense. All the bits like people not speaking to him made sense. And it was really sad watching him have to let his sister go, or she had to let him go as well, as he moved on with that girl. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some weird bits like, why were they buried together? Like, you would never bury a teenage boy and a teenage girl together. Even if they died together, you just wouldn't do that. And I didn't fully understand where the diner scene fell into it, where he went in and there was other people there. Yeah, presumably they're ghosts that died, but it didn't really make sense, or it didn't really need to be there, and it reminded me of the Whispering Wall scene, which I think worked better for the episode. But the acting was really good here from everybody involved. The twist was good, the clues were great, and it was a really sad end to the episode, and I just really enjoyed it. And for an episode that I would have classed as, yes, it was by Sam, but a Kristen episode. Kirsten, I've forgotten who she is now. I need to have a look. What's she called? Kristen. Okay. For a Kristen episode, which is normally like lovey-dovey, blah, 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 all ends happily, which isn't normally my thing, I have thoroughly enjoyed The Tale of the Dream Girl. Okay, number 2, second place. Can you guess what I put at the top? Give you a second to guess. Alright, what I put in number 2, and again, 2 and 1 were definitely interchangeable for quite a while. This was number 1, then it was number 2, then it was number 1, then it was number 2. But ultimately I settled on second place, The Tale of the Dangerous Soup. Great episode, always great to see Vink back. Vink with a ver. Surprisingly, it's been the top of my favourite episode of Series 2, second favourite episode of Series 3, not my favourite episode of Series 1 for sure, but I'm interested to see if he's in Series 4 and 5, if the trend continues that he does great episodes. I love Vink, he's so good as the chef in this episode. Again, same as Midnight Madness, good parts of funny, jovial, and the chef, but quite threatening, like when he was locking people in that room and making their face come to life, just so we could have a good soup. And that room was cool. We got to see some cool fears, the snake, the walls closing in, the pendulum axe thing swinging down. I really enjoyed that. I would love to see more about it, more about that gargoyle, like more about the fears coming to life. And we also saw the uncle coming back, the abusive uncle, which was a really dark turn. I think that's what, again, promoted this episode for me, like higher up, because Are You Afraid of the Dark does do scary stuff, but when it goes really dark, it really works. So like Dark Music, when that boy essentially murdered his sister, or it hinted that he was going to murder his sister after murdering the bully, and then this one where they're talking about an abusive uncle, it really works. I have to give big props to Nev Campbell, because she's a beautiful actress. I love her. I think she's really good, and I think she works best when she's screaming and she's scared, which is why I love the Scream franchise. I think she's great in that. I just think she's great in this episode, and it's good to see that even younger she was a good actress, because sometimes you see actors in this that are really popular now that maybe weren't as good when they were younger. She was good. The other guy was okay. Like, I liked his performance, I liked his character. I know he was like a bit of a moody guy, but then apologised, and they worked together to save the day because he stood up to his uncle. But he was a bit of a miserable guy for most of the episode. But yeah, this was great. I could have easily put this at the top spot, but as you know what's coming, there was one that pipped it to the post. But this was really good, creepy stuff in that room. Vink was great. The soup idea was great. And yeah, really good episode. The Tale of the Dangerous Soup. So if you're keeping track, you know exactly what's coming up. My number 1 episode of Season 3 of You Afraid of the Dark is The Tale of the Crimson Clown. Now, y'all know some of my favourite episodes have good villains in it. So we've got Zebo, Nosferatu, the doll from Dark Music, essentially Vink last episode. Now, you can argue in this, actually, that Crimson Clown is not really a villain. He's villainous in how he acts and how he, like, attacks the boy, which we'll get to, because he's the true villain of this episode. But he's not really a villain, because he only went after someone to teach them a lesson, to get them to be a better person. So in some ways, the Crimson Clown's the hero of this episode, but because he's like creepy looking, very ominous looking, I really loved him. I thought he was great. Not just when he was a doll in the store, but when he was like, the head was on that creepy shopkeeper, and when he was walking into the room, I was genuinely freaked out as an adult. I thought it was genuinely creepy, and I thought the Crimson Clown was so strong as a villainous kind of hero adjacent character. Now let's talk about that brother. That guy is one of the most annoying characters in the history of the show, but I kind of loved it for that, because he was so annoying, and because you hated him so much, it really worked when he got his comeuppance and when the Crimson Clown came after him. And I think that's where the episode is so strong for me, that the annoying character was really good. The lovely older brother who's trying to do a good thing was really well portrayed. And so when all the things transpired and you were going like, oh my god, I hate this guy. This guy's just trying to do a really nice thing. He saved up 70 odd euros? Dollars. To get his mum a present. And this little shit has ruined it. God, he's so annoying. And then he's making the other guy get in trouble. When the Crimson Clown appears and starts going after him and torturing him and chasing him and scaring him, you have this moment of, oh my god, this is so good. He deserves everything he gets. This is so cool. And that's what really works about this, that they make you hate this guy so much that when the Crimson Clown starts enacting vengeance, it's satisfying. It's really satisfying, and you're rooting for him. Like, get that kid, get him, get that little boy, kill him. Now at the end, obviously, the kid gets a second chance to be a better person, and we have to just believe that he became a better person. And yeah, he was probably so traumatized by the Crimson Clown that he probably did change his ways a little bit. But I loved this. Like I say, I loved every character, every main character in this. The boy who was just a really sweet kid, doing something good for his mum, saved all that money just to be screwed over. The brother, irritating, very irritating, made me want to claw my own skin off. The creepy shopkeeper. The mum I didn't like so much. He was a bit like, oh, I believe my baby, my youngest son's my baby. Like, bleh. No, he's clearly a cretin. He's the devil incarnate. but the Crimson Clan itself was so good that it scared me so much as an adult that I think it works so well. I think this episode is really good. I don't know if it's everyone's favourite, I really have no idea at this point, but I thought this was incredible, scary, funny, stressful. My favourite episode of season 3 of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Boo! It's Scott from the future. Hi. Other than the fact that I've got no hair, just had my head shaved because I wanted hair change, I realised, because I just edited the video, that I didn't talk about the Midnight Society members at the end like I normally do, and I thought about just leaving it out, but then I know my OCD would be like, but you left one video where you didn't do what you did in every other video, so I'm just going to briefly talk about each Midnight Society member and just look through who told the best and worst stories, in my opinion, of the season. I'm going to make it really quick and jump back to the past. So we've got Frank, who told the dangerous soup, Betty Ann, who told the dollmaker, Bookish, Babysitter and Curious Camera. Gary told Carved Stone and Crimson Clown. Kiki told Apartment 214 and Quicksilver. Tucker told Midnight Ride, Phone Police, Guardian's Curse. And Sam told Watchers Woods and Dream Girl. So in terms of my favourite storyteller of the season, now this is a pretty difficult one because Frank told Dangerous Soup, which came second for me. I thought that was great. But also, like, Gary told my favourite story, which was Crimson Clown, but then told my least favourite story, which was Carved Stone. So it kind of equals out that it was kind of like middle ground. And then we've got, say, Sam, that told my third favourite Dream Girl, and Watchers Woods were like in the middle somewhere. So I'm a little bit confused about this one, what to rank it as. But I think, looking at the different stories that we've got, it's either Frank, because Dangerous Soup was great, and that was like first or second spot. So I think I'm probably going to go for Frank. But also, I'm going to say Betty Ann's pretty strong, Dollmaker was good, Bookish Babysitter was great, Curious Camera, meh. But again, if you average it out, that's really less. So for right now, as it stands, my favourite Midnight Society member of Season 2 is a tie between Frank and Sam. In terms of my least favourite, I think it's going to have to go to Kiki. Apartment 214 was good. Not my favourite, but I liked it. It was good. Again, Quicksilver. I liked it. Neither of them were my favourite episodes. Overall, just looking at what I like, what I don't, and my favourite episodes of the season, my least favourite episodes of the season, my least favourite storyteller of season 2, which I know is controversial. I think all my views in this video are going to be really controversial. But right now, it's going to be Kiki. Again, Gary told the worst episode of the season, in my opinion, but he also told my favourite, so I find it hard to put him in the bottom. So yeah, really complicated one this season. There's no out and out least favourite because everyone's kind of, all the people that have told multiple stories have got a variety for me, or they're quite middle ground, so a bit complicated, and I hope that makes sense, and I hope you understand my views. Now go back to past Scott. And that's it, that's my ranking of every episode of Season 3 of You Afraid of the Dark, from my least favourite to my favourite. Let me know down below in the comments how much you disagree, how much you agree, or at least what your favourite episodes were, and your least favourite. I love hearing both ends of the spectrum. I think it's really interesting to see what people love and what people don't love, and how much they disagree with me. So I apologise if some of my episodes you didn't agree with, but that's my opinion. Let's just be polite about it and have a good old chat in the comments about our favourite episodes and least favourite episodes of the season. And that's it. That's Season 3 of You Afraid of the Dark wrapped up. I hope you enjoyed the video and the ranking. Let me know down below what you thought. As always, my name is Scott. I hope you guys are well, taking care of yourselves and staying safe. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. Take a look at the Patreon link down below. And I'll see you all very soon, hopefully, for Series 4 of Are You Afraid of the Dark. Bye guys, take care and stay safe.